Hello, my name is Robert M. Hall, and today we're going to be discussing Adobe Device Central CS3. This is a new application from Adobe, and it's designed to allow designers and developers to work really efficiently and quickly in creating content for mobile devices such as phones and other consumer electronic devices. So we're at the welcome screen in Device Central, and we're going to just go over some really key aspects of the user interface for Device Central. And we're going to touch on setting preferences, working with profiles, and creating new documents. So from the welcome screen, you can actually open existing files for testing that may have already created. You can browse through device profiles. You've got some links to external sites for getting started, resources, and again, a link for device updates. Then, of course, you can create new mobile content directly from the welcome screen. I'm going to skip over that right now. We're actually going to close the welcome screen, and I'm going to jump to the most important part, and that's device profiles and sets. We've just got a kind of a blank screen, no device selected. So if you look down to the left over here, we've got available devices, and there's a couple different ways you can sort these. I'm going to open up the Nokia section, and you'll see there's a ton of different Nokia devices. I'm going to click on one here, and we'll see that it pulls up a nice screen that shows some general information about what the device is capable of. It actually shows what the device actually looks like, the languages it supports, the color depth, the different features. And then also if we click on Flash, it'll show the version of Flash that ships on the device. This one actually ships with Flashlight 1.1. And we can click here and it'll show the type of bitmaps it supports, the different scaling and alignments, the background colors, the addressable size, if it supports wallpaper, the type of formats. We can click on video and web. And so it basically shows you everything about the device. Now we can click on more than one, and you can see them side by side, which is a really great feature. If we jump back, let's look at the N73 compared to the N80, and you can drill down and look at the different criteria compared directly one to the other. And we can even add another device. Let's add on an E60. And there you go, we've got all three on the screen. So this allows you to go through and quickly compare and see the features of all the devices and see if they're going to support the type of content that you're working on. For example, you may need to target at least a 240 by 320 window, which you could click on the Nokia N73, which supports a 240 by 273 pixel full screen mode, and it has a 240 by 320 display. You might need this over something like a Nokia 3250, which has a 176 by 173 display. So that's in device profiles. Now you can also create what are known as sets. If you look up here at the top, there's a sample device set. And these are just generic profiles that Adobe has created. They're not tied to any specific device manufacturer. They're just generic profiles for Flashlight 1.1 at 16-bit color depth. You've got Flashlight 1.1 at a 32-bit depth, and then so on. You've got Flashlight 2.0 and 2.1, both in 16 and 32-bit depths. And these are, again, just general profiles that you could use to begin your application with if you're not quite sure exactly what device you're targeting, but you know what version of Flashlight you're targeting. If you wanted to create a new set, all you do is click plus, and you can name it. I name this Rob's set. And I could go down and I can select the specific devices that I'd want to work with. Now I'm actually going to use the Smart Search, and I'm going to look for Nokia devices. And that eliminates all the other manufacturers, and you see this is a real-time search filter. Then I'm going to add another criteria, and I only want Nokia devices that are supported by multiple carriers. And I want to see, let's select display size that's at least larger than 176. So that filters things down even more. So you can use this Smart Search to really filter down the types of devices that are available. So I'm going to drag the Nokia E60 to my new set, and I'm going to drag the E61 to my new set, and the E62, because these have the larger screens and the QWERTY keyboards. So I'm going to eliminate the Nokia E60. So I'll just right-click and hit delete. So I've got my set, and I've got the Nokia E61 and the E62, which just have slight differences as far as the network support they have. And there you go, you've made a set. Next, we're going to show the preferences. So let's go up under Device Central and go to Preferences. So the first item you see is the General section, Default Phone ID. This is where you can set the IEMI number. This is the global identifier for your particular device if you're working with a handset. You can preset that to one that maybe matches your particular device you're working with. You can set the number of undo levels for working with the application, the default application language, and the various font mappings for whatever language you're working with. The next thing I'd like to cover is for checking for new device updates. And you simply go to Devices and do Check for Device Updates. and this will go out to the web and check to see if there's been any updates published for the various profiles or new profiles directly from Adobe. One of the most important things you can do is create new documents from within Device Central. So if we go to New Document in, and we can select currently Flash, Illustrator, or Photoshop. So I'm going to create a new document in Photoshop. You'll see that this switches to the New Document tab, and it pulls up the two profiles from my RAW set that I'm currently working with, the E61 and the E62. And it shows their 320 by 240 pixel size and the color profile, and allows me to pick the content type that I'd like to create, whether that's full screen, screensaver, wallpaper, or wake-up screen. And this would actually change if you were creating a new Flash document to many different types of content that are available on the different flashlight-capable devices. So I'm just going to leave it as a full-screen image. I'm going to hit Create. And you'll see that it's swapped me over to Photoshop and automatically created a new document. I could work on content here, I could import content, I could work with existing files, then I can go back to File in Photoshop and go to Device Central. And it'll take me right back. Or I can go from Device Central and go to Return to Photoshop. So you can quickly switch back and forth. Now if I wanted to preview this content, and I'm actually going to close this and open an existing document that I have that I'd like to preview. So I'm going to go to an existing project folder I have. I'm going to pull open an existing project, a wallpaper for an Aquo project. And you can see this is a 240 by 320 size image, a wallpaper. And if I want to see this in Device Central, I can go up to File and do Save for Web and Devices. Some of you may be familiar with this option before. It used to be Save for Web. Now it's Save for Web and Devices. So it's essentially the same familiar interface you're used to. You can set how you want to adjust your settings, whether that's PNG, JPEG, GIF, etc. Different options. But in the bottom right, there's now an option called Device Central, which now allows you to test and see the content in Device Central. Now, this particular document was not formatted for this size screen, but I could actually quickly go over to another device profile, select that, such as the N73, which is tailored to this size document, and I could see exactly how it looks. You can see on the right, we've got several options for the content type, file info, display. We can simulate what the backlighting, how it might affect the document. If there's reflections, if you're in direct sunlight, if you're outdoors, if you're indoors. There's a lot of options here for selecting and seeing how your content will look on the device. You can scale it, you can stretch it. Actually, if we went back to our other profile, the E61, we can actually do stretch to screen, which would then automatically stretch the content. So it gives you lots of different ways to quickly preview the content in this Adobe Device Central environment. You can actually zoom in and out. You might want to rotate the content. You can also view things in what's called detached mode. If you go to detached, this gives you access to the actual interface of the device. Even though you might be zoomed in just looking at the content, you could still interact with the content, particularly if you're working with flashlight content, where you might need to navigate with the keys or the controls of the device. So again, we can go back and we can go to File. We can return to Photoshop, and this will take us back to the area we were working on, the Save for Web. We could tweak our settings and then hit Device Central again. I'm going to go ahead and hit Cancel and close this and go back to Device Central, and I'm going to click back on Device Profiles. In conclusion, we've touched on the basics of working with Adobe Device Central.